Those who are willing, oh gosh, those who are willing and able.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Wake up.
Yeah, thank you.
Crank the mics.
Thank you, thank you. All right, do I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Botts. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Weiss. Any comments? Mr. Enerson? All right.
Not on the agenda.
All right, all those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to number 4, visitors, none. All right, thank you. Moving on to number 5, the consent agenda. 5.1, approve the minutes all the way through 5.99 with the coaching.
6.4.
Oh, 6.4. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. So number 5, consent agenda. Are there any of those that you would like pulled out to discuss individually? Anyone have one of those that they'd like to pull out? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Oy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Pels. Any other thoughts?
Just,
Yes, sir.
we had our donations in there from the Carols to the library. And then also we had a couple of Donors Choose projects that were funded. And so we would just like to say thank you to our community for supporting our school and our library.
Thank you. The Carols and then donorschoose.org.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. Very good. All right. Any other discussion? Any other thoughts? Hearing none. All those in favor of the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So on to number 7, administrative reports and information, 711.
And budget year to date looks okay. I did make some budget transfers that I haven't talked to Kevin with yet, but anyway. He wasn't here when I made them, and I forgot to talk to him today. So anyway, I did take some money out of contingency. I'm sure I could find $13,000 somewhere else in the budget, but since it was my mistake, I took it out of contingency. I did not have, if you look down on object 550, 581, interest on the capital lease, that's the interest on the tennis courts. I didn't have that in the original budget. So, it's there now, and I took that out of contingency.
Okay. Any questions for Jackie?
Next year, I'll make sure I have the principal and interest payment in there when I do the fiscal year 19 budget, so.
Thank you. Any other questions for Jackie? No? All right, moving on to 712. Corey, hello.
Hi. As you know, as we finish the winter season, there's a lot of finalizing of activities. Tonight there's a girls' basketball game, but we had a big week. Robotics is going on, speech, wrestling. We had individuals here, so just a busy time of year. A lot of fun things going with kids. One of the things that we emphasize this time of year is our registration guide and getting that done. So we got, this is the almost done draft, and it'll be done by the end of this week. And going through the classes, just trying to make sure that we have a well-rounded, broad curriculum for our students. Looking at potentially offering classes outside. Try to offer coordinated classes with, whether it's with Minnesota West or the carpentry, whether it's with Minnesota West and Laverne and some area schools for like the CEO program or more of a medical nursing-based program. So we try to keep those options available for our students. We also look at what electives kids need on site here and what we can offer with our current staff. So trying to put that all together, so you should be able to see that here real soon. We'll be getting these out to our students and going into classrooms, talking to them and working through that registration scheduling process. So that's really all I have, unless you have questions.
Any questions for Mr. Strausser? No? All right, thank you, Corey.
Thanks.
713. Hello, Tony. Hi.
So I wanted to update you on the classroom engagement model that you approved last month. We have, I have the application finished, and I have the E ECSC coordinator looking at it before I submit it, so I should be submitting that this week. I will keep you updated on that. We are also starting an adopt a grandparent program in our third grade classrooms. Tony Matthews came to me asking if I thought that was a good idea, and I said, yeah, I think that's a great idea. So we're gonna start it with our third grade classrooms, and we'll be working with Good Sam. And we're just kind of putting together somewhat of like a contract of what it would look like if, you know, what the kids are expected and that kind of thing. So we are in that stage right now with that, and pretty excited about that. And we did an I Love to Read night, February 6th. We had approximately 50 families come. Did some brainstorming a little bit, Mel and I, about maybe some things we can do to kind of get some more people in next year. So we're gonna try to beef that up a little bit so we can get some more people there. And I went to MESPA on the 7th through the 9th, and it was amazing, as always. They had a theme, was pretty much culture, so I got to listen to Jimmy Cassis and Gary Brooks, if you're familiar with him. He is a funny guy who is on YouTube, but does also some PD about culture, and so it was fun to listen to him, so I learned a lot. It was awesome. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Tony? Anyone? No? Okay, thank you, Tony.
Thanks.
714.
Getting off easy.
Thanks.
Hi, Mel.
Hello.
Now from you, Mel.
Yeah, now you're gonna be like, no, that's okay. I have been spending most of my time on test prep, making sure that we have the students coded correctly in MARS. We went through our EL population and ensured that they're correctly coded. Our EL staff are 3/4 of the way done with access testing right now, which is amazing. Then MCA testing is coming up. I have all of our scheduled starting the beginning of April. So we went to the end of the testing window. Hopefully that doesn't bite me later. But, you know, pray for no snow in April. Rain, yes, snow, no. And we are now in the process of, I need to get out to the staff who's testing, what training they need to do, because all of the training is online. I don't have to give presentations and have people sign papers. It can all be done virtually at their own time, you know, when they want to. It turns into about, if they're proctoring a test, it's about 22 to 30 minutes of watching webinars, and they have it broken down very nicely. And so I'm very appreciative of that, so that I know that all of our staff, and then I can go in and see who's done it, who do I need to talk to yet, because then I'll have to keep a record of that. But we are, and the testing schedule, the specific testing schedule is posted on our school webpage under curriculum, teaching and learning, and then testing. So you are able to see exactly what day your grade level student will test for math, for reading, for science. So it's a little bit easier, I think, for everyone to plan ahead for. Questions?
Good.
There are a whole bunch of other things going on, but that's what we're gonna share with right now that is, you know, most pertinent.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone have any questions for Mel?
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mel. On to 7.2, school board members. Any committees?
We have our
Finance?
community meeting, but well, we've got that on new business,
end.
but
Yep.
I think calendar will be meeting. Budget,
Tuesday. Oh.
budget probably will be coming up here in a couple weeks, and then we'll see about our facilities committee and maintenance, where that's at, so, yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. Anyone else have anything to share? No? All right, 7.3, Superintendent Enerson.
Just enrollment is up another 7 from last month, so Following our trend of the up-downs through the winter and back up again a little bit, not where we started the year, but seems to be going in the direction that we see usually from year to year. Caring Hands Dental came out to Pipestone, and we met with them, and we invited area school districts. Murray County Central was here, Laverne, Edgerton. Was RTR here? I think they couldn't make it, but we invited them. Caring Hands provides free dental clinics and services to families who can't afford it. That's kind of their niche. They also come out and do presentations at schools to children that are age appropriate. So, you know, the young ones in the middle of the road in the high school about dental care and how important that is. So, and then they can do a free screening if someone would want to have them just checked over. So they got together with our people, and I think we'll be looking at doing that. They are planning to set up a clinic here in Pipestone eventually, which will be really nice, because right now, if anybody who needs that service would have to go up to Alexandria or Montevideo. So quite a travel for dental care if you really need it. And, you know, they really say if they can head off issues, major issues, it does a lot for just overall general health, because whatever is going on in here ends up going into the rest of the body. And so, I didn't realize Minnesota's not very good at dental care in this state. So I think it's a great opportunity for our kids and another way that we can get them resources and access for help. So nothing that we've done, they've just been moving here, and I just made a connection, and so we'll keep going with that. Budget process, admin team's been meeting quite a few times. We meet again tomorrow to really start to prioritize and start to finalize some of our budget recommendations for next year. So that's kind of where that's at. So that's what I've got this month.
Okay.
I don't know if I should mention just, you know, the Florida tragedy and safety and security. You know, I think some of that stuff, I don't know what you're gonna do. I mean, that building was completely surrounded and perimeter fencing, and they open up at the end of the day, so it's, I know that we think about it, it's been in our plan, we know that our buildings could be better, and we need to work on that. It's, some of these solutions aren't done overnight. We have crisis plans, we do drills, we do a number of different things, so keeping our staff informed, but, you know, those are just terrible tragedies, and I know people jump to conclusions, which is, you know, there's no one solution to this, it's multiple solutions, multiple ways of getting our heads together and problem solving, so really, again, any school tragedy is terrible, but
How often do we try and schedule, you know, just those type of the shooter drills, the fire drills? I mean, just out of curiosity as to how that lays out throughout the whole entire year.
There's a certain amount you have to do throughout the whole year, so we spread them out. Of course, we do the fire drills when weather's a little
So
bit
decent,
nicer.
right.
And then you do the tornado drill in the spring during the tornado week. And then same with the Alice drills, we try to do them when it's a little bit nicer, unless we do like a soft lockdown where we just need to close the doors and like if something's going on in town or whatever.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah, anytime we do like a drug dog search, that's a lockdown situation. We do that a few times throughout the year.
Okay.
before school, our staff is primary, I mean, you got kids coming and going, so, I mean, you see our enrollment numbers, so our biggest thing is to make sure that our staff is aware of the procedures and that they follow the protocols that we put in place, because that's probably number one, is making sure that people follow directions and do what they're supposed to do, and so we really want to make sure that, again, keeping our plans up to date. We have a great relationship with the law enforcement and county emergency services. We had a major training exercise here in, was that December? With a lot of Southwest Minnesota. Of course, that's stuff you don't want to train for, but they're ready for it. So,
How often, and I don't remember what we had, you know, when we went through this whole Alice training deal, what we all signed up for. Is there something like every year that staff has to go through, just kind of like, or, you know, just a few? Or is it every so many years, or, you know, like how often do we have, I mean, you know, have the staff go through the, you know, especially when you have new staff?
Right.
Not that they're not trained on it in the manual of new teachers or whatever, but,
I don't know, like Corey said, that there's an actual,
we review our
A number, but-
procedures
right.
every year,
Yeah.
going through the scenario we did with our new teachers and anybody who maybe hasn't been. The nice thing.
I just didn't know if we were required to have these guys
No.
come back, you know, once a
Well,
year or
the
whatever.
The nice thing is Pipestone County now, the sheriff's
Right.
office, they have 2 deputies trained. So we actually have trainers right here.
Yeah.
That, you know,
Well, we
actually,
did have them for our back to school. The morning session was a refresher in Alice, and then they did a, you know, a mock, a
Simulation.
simulation
Yeah.
to just get anyone who hadn't been and just remind those who had.
right.
Okay, just curious. I mean, just, you know,
Yep.
Max being new to the school, just, he had lots of questions after this. You know, what do I do in here? What do I do in that? I said, well, has your teacher not talked to you about it? And he said, no. So that just brought concern to me that, okay, these 5th graders are all new. They know what they were supposed to do in the elementary, but they don't know what they're supposed to do here. So I just kind of thought that was, you know, just maybe a time to talk to him about that stuff. You don't really think about asking him those kind of things until something like that happens. And so I was just curious. And so he was all like, well, what do we do if we're in the gym? And, you know, so I'm like, well, you're just going to have to ask, you know. They'll tell you, people will tell you what to do. They know what they're doing. But, you know, so I was just, you know, curious as to how often that happened, I guess.
Do students go through the whole procedure like the teachers do?
we don't do the simulation with the
No.
students.
Too scary?
Yeah. It's very anxious, you feel very anxious.
I've heard that. I mean, I've talked to
Yeah.
some teachers that said
Yeah.
it's scary enough for them, so I didn't know.
Yep, we just talk about it. There's a special book that they have, that Alice has, that we read at the elementary level that talks about it, that's a little bit more kid-friendly. And so that's kinda how we go about it, and then we practice like room by room before we do an all-school drill. So, and I usually try to let the teachers know when we're gonna do it, just because then they're a little bit more prepared. And I know that's not really preparing them for a real situation, but with the
You know,
kiddos,
they kind of
it's
have an
just-
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
They're
mean, just
aware.
have discussion. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's not something that'll
And they
probably.
can talk to them and explain to them why we do it, and
Right.
in the not scary way.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I wonder too, does someone talk to, I mean, all the kids, like, as far as if you see something, say something, if, you know, I talked to my kids about this after this whole deal, because there were kids that knew things were not right, you know? And so I just think you have to really encourage students to, if you think something's not right, or you see something, it's okay, I mean, to
Right.
tell somebody.
Yeah.
And we need to take those seriously when, even if it is, you know, whatever, if it's a false thing, big, you know,
Being more proactive than
Right.
reactive. Yep,
Right.
Absolutely.
I-
Yep.
Safe to say, probably at the middle school, high school level, most of our information comes from our
Right.
student body. Concerns,
Yeah.
we
Right.
check into things.
yep.
Again, the additional social worker, I mean, when they talk about all of this stuff, it's about supporting our students and knowing that we care and we're here for them, and if you're in distress and you're not feeling good and you're feeling bad and all of those things that go along there, we are here for you. And so it's not just always about drills, but it's paying attention and
Right.
letting everybody know that we care and making sure that we pay attention to those students who are in distress. So, we don't publicize it, but, I hope that people can understand that we deal with things. The school district deals with things, and things that kids say and stuff, so, we don't ignore it, so. Again, we don't publicize it every time.
Right.
But there's some times when, you know, you as a board are given a heads up that maybe we had a situation and, you know, we dealt with it, but, you know, if you ignore those things, what do they manifest into too, you know? So I think it's important that everybody know we don't and we're here, so.
So now
We
like,
just need more help sometimes.
so now like where we added 4 new staff members, do you do like a once a month training with all of them as they're coming in through for orientation, or how are they brought up to speed on any of our trainings and programs?
They're more like the students, I would say. Our teachers are the ones that are going to be the primary people that are directing students when we have situations, so. Not that paras aren't, but it's just a little bit different situation.
And when
I
we
guess.
know something like that's coming, we fill them in on what it looks like and what we do. So,
And that's part of the mentor, mentee piece with new teachers as well. That's being able to, work through all the pieces. And, you know, it's unusual to have new teachers in the middle of the year, but that's what we've had.
Yeah.
So that's a good part of the mentor mentee program.
Okay. Any other questions of the superintendent? Thank you, all of you, for contributing to that. Good questions, Tammy. Number 8, old business, I see none, so moving on to number 9, new business. We have approving policy 102, policy 401, policy 402, policy 521, and policy 522. Would you like to say anything about those?
Yes, you approved these policies, I don't know, 6 months ago? Part of our civil rights audit, and of course, they said we were missing, I don't remember even what it was. We updated these policies to have everything, I think it was one statement that needed to be in these policies.
Right.
And they all have pretty much the same statement that needed to be put in all of them, so we brought these up. I got the letter today from the Minnesota Department of Education that says we are now done with our civil rights audit. And your approval of these policies, again, will be within the requirements set forth, so.
Thank you for all that work.
Man, and I spent a lot of time reading those too.
You would've just had to read the last couple pages.
I'm like, my
Of
gosh,
one
I
of
wanna
them.
go to bed.
But good job, Tim.
Okay, so thank you. Do I have a motion to approve policy 102, 401, 402, 521, and 522?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Oy. Thank you, Mrs. Weiss. Any other discussion on those? All right, all those in favor of approving 9.1 through 9.5 policies signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 9.6, approval of technology plan.
Back when I started, I asked for some, what do you guys want? And so we had goals, and we put together our goals, and one of them was high tech, and really it was about develop, and you can see under the second bullet there, that meant to develop and communicate a plan for use and support in the classroom, in addition to providing tools and resources to our system. So tonight, we have been working on this and put together a proposal, a technology plan for you to review and approve if need be, if you feel that it's necessary to approve it or you feel like it's ready for approval. But basically, I've given you a one-page overview of the plan. You also have a copy of the plan. But basically, we've got down in there a little bit of a mission of what our district would like to do in terms of integrating technology to support student learning and teaching in our community. We have some beliefs there that I'll read through those very quickly. Support the successful application of knowledge, tools, and skills to extend academic and occupational capabilities to ensure success in the workplace and world beyond school, to help teachers to facilitate learning in an environment where students are active participants in what and how they learn by promoting communication, collaboration, critical thinking and creativity, provide more opportunities for personalized and differentiated learning, provide teachers, students, administrators, parents, and other community members with the means of communication and information sharing that will improve administrative efficiency and foster a sense of community for all, to enhance staff and student productivity, and to encourage the use of new and emerging technologies to support learning. So I hope that this puts together a little bit better communication of what the district wants in terms of technology. I think it was you, Tammy, said, we want to be high-tech. Well, this is kind of making high-tech, and what does that mean? So it gives more words, more understanding of what are we trying to get accomplished through our technology, and why we're using technology with students, and how this can happen. So this is kind of that summation. And then we have categories and goals, and in the plan, there were goals under each one of these categories, which are learning, teaching and professional development, instructional applications, digital citizenship, leadership, assessment evaluation, support management and operations, infrastructure, hardware, budget, communication, and policies and procedures, which are all of the things that will help us to accomplish that mission. So what this in a nutshell does is it helps us as the educators have a reason why we're doing things. Why are we buying devices? Why are we asking teachers to use Schoology in the classroom? Why are we giving a one-to-one device to students? And at what age level should we be giving those? So now, that's about the extent that you're gonna have me talk. We have Deb Versteeg here, our tech integrationist, Ms. Wellnitz, and our principals who have also been a part of putting this together. But I don't know if you have anything else that you would like to add, if there are other questions, but you can see basically how we put this together. Here's our plan, and then we have our introduction, mission and beliefs, which is where I got those from. And then we have our learning goals. So under high academic achievement, this is our district goals. And then we have our district, come on here. I had it, there was our committee. Categories of goals, here's under learning. So these are where, what are we looking to do under learning in our technology area? And you've got supporting academic standards, increasing communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, and developmentally appropriate. So that's an example, and I don't know if you have read through all of that, but we've gone through and we've tried to put together a plan that we can use to follow and help us understand and justify why we are doing the things we're doing in our district, so.
I think the greatest benefit of this plan is, part of the plan that you don't see is our action plan to make all that happen. So it's not just that we hope that this got done and it goes on a shelf on a binder. This is a living, breathing document, and Deb's position, the principals, and myself, as well as Mr. Enerson, have roles within that action plan to ensure that those goals are met within our district through our staff, students, and everything. So I think that's the greatest benefit of this plan, is that we have a plan to make it happen. It's not just done. So,
So checkpoints.
checkpoint. Yep, so.
Checkpoints along the way.
Questions? Concerns?
Have anything you want to add, Deb?
Deb?
No? Okay. Katie, you were on the committee?
Yes, I initially was. No, they don't have that, we don't have a
I
committee
know, that's what
person
I was
on there
thinking about,
anymore.
that was the only thing that I was
Initially I
wondering
was.
is whether, because I thought we took that,
We did,
yeah, I thought we took out that committee.
In
we
January,
did.
yeah.
but it,
Yeah.
yeah.
This
But
has
you was
been-
already,
That
you
was
were already
before,
working
I
on it,
went to, yeah, the
We were
meetings before
rolling
that.
this around
Right.
for a while.
Working, we've been, yeah.
I think that was one thing that
Yeah.
when I was reading through it. it was a lot to read all at once. I did not, I mean, to be honest, I didn't click on all these little,
Is that
you know,
just the
little
data,
links
It's the
and all
data
that
that
stuff.
The few that I looked
supports
at were like the
that's
ease
there.
of using the computer or the
Yeah.
emails or other, that's,
Yep, it's, you know, Deb ensured that our data that we actually use to help build this is included in there, so we don't have to go and dig and look, and it's there. Why do we do that? It's here.
Oh, no, I lost everything.
Busy clicking.
I just clicked one too many times. Shouldn't have clicked that last click.
so any thoughts or questions or comments? Because we're looking for approval, correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been in the work and we finally are getting the plan. We feel like this is a plan that we can bring to the board and use to help us with that. If you feel like you need a little more time and maybe the action plans, if you would like to have them, we can most certainly provide them too. I guess I forgot about that.
It's okay.
Didn't get that in the agenda.
Remember, we're all a team.
So thoughts, comments, questions? Do I have a motion to approve the technology plan as is?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Weiss. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Box. Any other discussion on the technology plan?
So will the action part be put in?
We can share that with you guys. It's
Or
not
do we
gonna-
need to wait?
Because that's a part of the plan, is that correct?
It's a
No.
subset of the plan, like it's not the plan, it's how the plan is gonna happen.
So we don't need to wait to
We
get.
can share that with you so that you can see.
Well, I'd like to
our
put
text
this on the
balances.
website so that everyone can see our technology plan. I mean,
That'd be a good
that's
idea.
kind of part of this too, is to share with the community. So when they're wondering, why are we doing this, they'll have more information that can help them probably develop a little bit. If they want to do their own research, that's just one of those things of why you have this. Again, part of this comes about when you're going through this, why and what are we doing this? And, you know, it's very vague, so this was part of, we wanted to get together what does high tech mean? Why are we doing things like one-to-one? You know, that's what this was all about.
That's good. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? All great, great questions. Any other thoughts or comments? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the technology plan signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 9.7, approve Plum Creek Library System Agency Agreement.
The library is a part of the Plum Creek system where they can get resources and support. And because we and the community, the library is shared, we have to also approve this agreement, so. I believe we do this annually or every 2 years. But
I don't know.
this is our agreement, so, this is the one that we have to.
Okay. Do I have a you okay? You good?
Yeah, I just don't want to type my password in so the whole world can see it.
Do I have a motion to approve the Plum Creek Library System Agency Agreement?
So,
Thank you, Mr. Roy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Pals. Any other discussion on that? Any other thoughts? Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the Plum Creek Library System Agency Agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 9.8, approve contracts with Southwest West Central Service Cooperative for 18-19 school year.
This is our, we have a number of services that the service co-op provides to the school district. Our membership, but then we have environmental health, you know, this is like our OSHA inspections, and they keep up with all of that in advising us. This is all of our smart finance system and Mars and all of that. And then our technology services, in which they provide, you know, our tech coordinator, and we contract through that. The educational services are primarily special education. We do have one increase, early childhood special education. We are increasing from 1.64 FTEs to 2. So that's a big difference. And I think that just goes back to us with our preschool and making sure that we are identifying and serving kids in need. And I think, Ms. Bartman, you can say that we do have more needs with the little ones, and so.
Well, ECSE is birth to 5, and so it's
Oh,
not.
birth. Oh, yeah, that's right.
So it's not only the kids in school, it's also those, you know, out in our community, so. Yeah.
So
we're-
those teachers that are ECSE are not under our, like, we don't have any of those, like, can
No,
we
they're
say
through the
names as to
co-op.
who they are?
They're through the co-op.
Yeah,
They're co-op teachers, yeah.
Mhm.
okay,
And we pay the co-op.
Co-op, right.
yes, for their service, yeah. So that's the one increase, that goes up. They do have other, but they negotiate contracts too, and so, they have some increases but the major piece was that. And then, here's a few other services that we get, so you can see a total contract, you know, about $723,000 for next year. Major portion of the increase was that increase in FTEs, so. We have other bills we pay to the co-op too, right, Jackie? I mean, this is the major portion, or do we have other? I mean, our special education is so. Yeah.
If you look at this sheet right here, it's part of your contract, you guys have it in your board packet. So it doesn't, what happens here, if you look at this funding source, there's a funding source of a finance 619, that's federal dollars. They don't actually bill us for this, they just take the money that's entitled to us and pay for the services. Same as a 620. What I'm gonna see a bill for is in this final column, 740. If that makes any sense.
Does that make-
So when I do the budget, you're not gonna have the 619 and 620 expense in there because I don't ever see the revenue, nor do we ever see the expense.
Ta-da, there it is.
But you'll
That
have the,
one?
so if you go down to the bottom of 740, that's what we'll actually get billed for special ed, even though we'll actually get billed for the 386, 431, that's what we're gonna see in bills. The 213, the 9366, we're not gonna see those in bills. They take our revenue and disperse it to their employees.
So what you're saying is we get some money from the federal government, federal Part B dollars,
Yes,
and all of our dollars go through the co-op, and they use those dollars to offset some of the costs that we have in our
correct.
special education.
And then what I also do, there's always some left over, so that I can shift the state special ed benefits, which aren't covered by the state, to the federal dollars, to pull down the state benefits from the federal dollars. I do that every year also, because you can't have your carryover to be too high.
So does that make things really clear for everyone?
There's mud.
Yes, should be simpler. Anyways.
All right, so any other thoughts or, well, any other questions, Rob? Do I have a motion to approve the contracts with Southwest West Central Service Cooperative for 2018-2019?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Pals. Do I have a second? Was that you, Mr. Roy? Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions, concerns, thoughts? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the contract with Southwest West Central Service Cooperative for the 18-19 school year signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 9.9, doing those separately, approve resolution.
Right, because I need.
Yep.
Because they are a resolution.
Okay.
Right. Just quickly, Minnesota School Board Association is asking all school districts to pass a resolution requesting the federal government and the state government to fully fund special education services. Basically, this is saying that, you know, we've had to, as a school district, provide services to students, and we don't recoup all of the, we don't get covered on all of the expenses, so we have to pull out of our general fund to cover some special education. I think one point right in here, they talk about the cross subsidy for Minnesota. Don't?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, $679 million. You know, that's how much things go up, and we do not get those costs, so. They say here that we end up paying an average of $815 per student, you know, for these excess special education costs. So it's really about giving us the revenues to cover the cost of educating children with unique and high needs, so.
This is at the federal level.
And the first one is the federal resolution, which
Okay.
I suppose we should do that one.
Yes, we'll do that one first. So do I have a motion to approve the resolution to fully fund the special education services at the federal level?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Oy. Do I have a second?
That was Mr. Botts.
Thank you, Mr. Potts. Darn it.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Talbert. Any other questions? Any other questions or discussion? All right.
Do a
Oh,
roll call because it's.
Roll call?
Yes.
All right.
He's got to read the whole thing. don't he?
Just Jeff just has to read the resolution, fully fund special education services.
Not
at
what we've
federal level.
learned, but that's good.
Okay.
Just to please Deb, we'll do that.
Okay.
All right, Tammy?
Yes.
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 So. It passes unanimously. Does he have to read that then, or?
The whole
No.
thing.
He just has to read it, and I read it for him. so.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right, so we're good with that one. Motion carries. Woo, there we go. Approve the resolution to fully fund special education services at the Minnesota level.
So
Same thing.
They basically have the same resolution.
Lee doesn't have
just
to
that
read.
it's- This one is addressed to the governor and the legislature. The previous one was addressed to the president and the Congress, so. They're asking the state of Minnesota to also advocate for this.
Thank you. So I asked for a motion. Well, I didn't, but I will, and it was Mr. Oy, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Pals. Any other discussion? Any other questions? Any others? Okay. We're gonna start down there, Katie?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Need to read anything there?
Thank
Deb?
you.
No, we're good? Okay. Moving on to 9/11, virtual day.
I know we've talked a little bit about the virtual day. The state last year passed a law that said we could have 5 e-learning days. And these are actually days in which you would hold school on the day of the event. We're talking about a virtual day, which is not an actual e-learning day or a day of the snow event. We were looking at, in our conversations with the teachers, I think they'd like to work towards that e-learning, where they could hold school on the day of a snow event, but they would like to have some, a run-through and try some practices. So their idea is that if we were to have a snow day, our first, to do a virtual day on what would have been a makeup day. So March 29th is listed as a snow makeup day. We haven't had any snow days, but if we were to have one between now and March, I guess we were wondering if the board would be interested in doing giving us an opportunity to do a virtual day. There are some things that we do need to do to tidy up on the e-learning day, but at least the virtual day gives us an opportunity to try some things. And, I don't know if the principals have anything to add or.
I did what you say, they're wanting to try it before we actually implement.
Right.
K
Would be K through 12, yeah.
And as a relatively new, I mean, it's a big thing, so, being, you have to learn to be good at it.
Yeah.
Grade 5 through 12 did it with the election, and they learned a lot. And I think they even said, we gotta try this again, and the elementary has never tried it, so they would
They
really
want
like
to try it.
give it a try, see where the pitfalls are, where the glitches are,
Yeah.
where the things, you know, what could they do better?
For us as a district to help figure out, you know, where our greatest areas of need for, you know, if we have students who don't have access, how are we gonna get that so that we can practice that as well? Rather than just trying to implement it next year and not knowing, you know, how many students do we need to help support with access and where can we do that?
And I don't think the staff is anywhere near feeling like they could do an e-learning day. I think they're interested in it, but they would like to give it a try a few times to see, so.
Yeah, they need to learn by doing it. I mean, they can't just whip it out on any given day.
So really in the best interest of the kids, it's better to practice now than
Yeah.
are we, because we're moving towards this 5 e-learning days when they actually happen on a snow day. And that's
I think-
kind of what they need to do, right? Is
Right.
they get that down so they know how to do it then?
Well, we had the conversation with, you know, according to the state law, you have to meet with your teachers and develop a plan together. And, you know, I think there's interest. I think there's some hesitancy. I think they feel like second graders can do it, but you really don't know until you do some of this stuff. I mean, the teachers felt, I think that's why they want to try some of these things and see if it is something we want to do. They may say we're not interested, and then we'll be making up all the time. You know, it's really would be handy if you know, if you have a bad winter and you're, you know, because we make up, and when you run out of makeup days and you're going in June, it's, you know, I don't think anybody likes that, so. And when you're on a snow day, if you can find it to be a productive day, a day of learnings, and I think we just have that opportunity with technology now. But how do you make it all work, so, again.
So this is now scheduled for a snow makeup day. So are you asking for us to technically say we're gonna have school that day? Or are we just gonna do an E-day if it is a snow day?
We would have to have a snow day to
Right.
do a makeup day.
Right, okay, so I just wasn't sure, since that one was down
If
for
we have
snow
no
day, if
snow
that's when
days,
you.
if we have no snow days, then we won't do this. We're just,
Okay, I thought
basically-
you were wanting to do this. And
If we have a.
if we have a
only if
snow-
you have a snow day,
we-
okay.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
only do it if we have a snow day. But so far, we haven't had any, so we can't, if we don't have a snow day, we can't have a virtual day.
Right, right.
We would have to wait until next year, but this is giving us that, you know, permission to do that. Because it's really a calendar issue in the calendar committee, and we're planning next year's calendar, and if the calendar committee decides to give that recommendation, you as a board, these may be built into your calendar already, and maybe you don't want to. You know, that's why, the reason we're here asking is because we don't have the flexibility to do an e-learning day on the 29th if we do have a snow day without your approval. So.
I guess my thing too is I worry about the communication. The communication I feel like was not very good when we did the high school one. I mean, me as a parent didn't know a lot about what was going on. I mean, and when I asked my daughter, she didn't seem to know a lot of what was going on. And so I feel like that's a concern, especially when you're talking about younger kids. I mean, I need to know, when you're talking about my 4th grader, I really need to know what's going on. You know, I mean, because they're going to have less direction or being able to do it on their own. So I guess that would be one of my concerns.
What would you have liked to have had?
More communication from either the parent or the teachers, or, I mean, there just really wasn't, and I know a lot of people were like, we didn't hear anything, you know, and it was kind of like, we're going to have this virtual day, but there really was no, this is what's going to happen on this virtual day. So going into it, I felt a little, I mean, and I knew more about it than a lot of people. So, I mean, I felt like a lot of people went into it a little blindly, per se. So I would just think,
That's something we can talk to our staff and make
yeah,
sure if we would happen to do it.
yeah. I mean, well, and anytime we decided, I just really think we need to have And good that's really communication.
Initially, if we would do this, you know, that would be something like for us anyways at the elementary school, that we would talk about at our open house conferences. You know, if we would happen to have a snow day, this is what we would do, and this is what it would look like. And then, because we've already talked about that as a staff, how we would do that.
But this year, we wouldn't have that yet.
Right, so then we would have to do some type of communication with families, and we would do that. We've talked about that too.
Like through sending up something, I mean, I just,
Right. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
How are you communicating with now? I mean, through letters, through your web, what's that thing that
Well,
you
I think-
communicate with?
I think in
Honeywell.
this situation that we had last fall, the students were communicated, you're saying more parent communication? I mean, I think they were trying to make sure that the kids knew what was gonna happen and how they get logged on and where they all go, so. And again, that's more at a secondary level where you'll
Right.
see more of that communication with the students, whereas with the younger now, we need to have more parent, you know, cause they're gonna have to help and know a little bit more about what's going on. And they maybe maybe we needed more of that with the fifth and sixth graders too, or, I don't, you know. And then you also hear they were all charged up and, you know. Some love it, and some will hate it. This is not gonna be for everyone. There are some students who just don't like this. There are some students who would just assume we do this every day. They thought it was the greatest thing, got all their work done, and, you know, some thought it was a free day. That could be any day here, I
Well,
guess,
especially-
you know.
Who's gonna make a video and put it on the website? Touchcast. Yeah, Deb's going, I will.
First Eagle help out.
Well, I think, Katie, you're
I
concerned
need
of
to visually see
communication.
it. Letters mess me up, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I just said, I need
Go
to
ahead.
see it visually, because I'm more of a visual person. The letters, I can misinterpret the letters, or the emails, or the written messages. I wanna hear it. That's just me. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, I think, Katie, you're concerned about the communication. That's a good reason to try the scheduled makeup day. Give it a try again. And where do we succeed well? Where do we have opportunities for improvement? What do we need to do? So should they be built into the next calendar year, we're more prepared for those days.
So are you looking for a motion to go with the 29th, or?
The board would need to give us permission to do that makeup day virtually. Otherwise, we bring them in if we have a snow day.
Okay.
And this is only if we have a snow day between today and,
And March 29th.
well, even if it were that week, I mean, I don't know how much, I mean, there's timing. March 28th could be a snow day. I don't know if you're gonna be able to pull everybody back and do it, you know. I think if you have one next week or this week, you'd say, okay, couple weeks' notice, we're gonna bring you in, or we're gonna do this on the 29th. Again, that's part of this. It's getting the word out, knowing how we're gonna do all this stuff. so.
And preparing.
Okay, so, do I have a motion to allow March 29th to be a virtual day,
If there's a snow day,
if there's a snow day?
so moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Pels. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Talbert. Any other thoughts, comments, questions, discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of allowing March 29th to be a virtual day if there's a snow day, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay. So,
5-1.
5-1. Motion carries. All right, moving on to 9:12, community meeting discussion.
Awesome.
What do you want to do?
It was good.
Awesome. Great questions.
Mm-hmm.
Good concerns from the people. Everybody wanted to talk, which is great. Did anybody put in that basket, Deb?
No,
Question.
there was nothing in there. Nope.
I think everybody was willing to talk, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yep. I started counting and then sort of lost track. Where did I start? You know, I don't know. How many do we think that we kind of had?
50, I don't know.
40? Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the number I got to, and I think I maybe counted that person once already, you know, so I just kind of gave up. I figured maybe you would have done that. But yeah, I thought that that was a good showing. I mean, for the first time.
Everybody sign in that
Yeah,
day,
oh,
so-
okay,
So we know that was an accurate number, besides, you know, the board and.
right.
Kevin and myself. and,
Well, for not being able to be there, I really appreciated the notes. I don't know if some of you were assigned to be the note takers, but you did a really nice job, because I appreciated reading those.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got 5 pages of comments, questions, and things for the board to look at.
and I guess I kind of just was writing down the questions. I didn't really, I mean, I wrote down a few comments, you know. In my group, I guess I was just kind of soaking things in, you know, which I probably, you know, I think you were writing stuff down
Yep.
too, but, you know, so next time, I guess, we'll
No, I thought it was good. I appreciated it. So
write
thank you
more
so much.
comments
Thank
and
you
stuff
for me.
down. But yeah, I think it was good conversation.
I had, from any community members, I think I heard nothing but
Yeah,
they liked
I agree.
the opportunity
Yeah.
to talk with you about, and that they were being asked, so I think that
Mm-hmm.
they were very positive.
And I
about
think,
it.
you know, I forgot to ask the first 2 groups that I had had, but the last group I had asked, you know, do you guys want us to continue this? You know, I think we want to keep meeting with you guys monthly, keep you guys posted on, you know, what we want to do. We still want to hear your comments, and everybody's, you know, in that group said, absolutely, we want you to stay connected with us. So I think that's a good thing. So whether or not this is something that we need to do regarding other things, you know, if it's once every couple months, we have just a community meeting, just, hey, you know, how are we doing? What do you want to see? You know, I don't know. I mean, that's just something I kind of was just thinking of, but, you know, if these are positive things, to do in the community, you know, then maybe we should continue, you know, once this discussion on this issue is over, and do some other things, I don't know.
And for this, Lance, and, I mean, it sounds like all of you really enjoyed it. That will grow it and make it bigger the next time, because
Right.
Right.
people, that will
Yep.
trickle out into
Right.
the community, and they'll talk about it and want
Yep.
to come.
Yeah.
And I think the relaxed setting helped. I mean, it was pretty relaxed. I think that
Yeah.
helps.
Yep.
You didn't feel like you were put on the spot when you were asking questions or commenting, or, I mean,
Mhm.
because it was just the small groups. I think that helps too.
Yeah.
It's not the, can you go in front of the microphone and, you know, I mean.
Yeah.
More intimate,
Yeah.
more personal.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was, helped.
I mean, it was a little full, I mean, when you're talking 20 people almost at every
Right.
area,
Yep.
but, you know, I think for the I mean, the only thing I would have said is it was just a little loud in there, but there was a buzz, but I think everybody could hear everybody. And so if I could do it over, we probably should have put
Yeah.
everybody a
Some
little
in different
farther
areas,
apart,
yeah.
maybe, just spread you
Yeah.
out a little more, because we tried to stay on the linoleum and could have probably went over into the carpeting area, but. I guess one question is, kind of the next steps. We do have 5 pages of information, and again, I don't know if this is the full board's job to analyze this, and, but I think our facility committee, are you guys open to them? Take, kind of remanding, again, this is how committees work. You give a committee a direction, and then they kind of put together a, you know, next step of where are we going, and work that way, so.
Well, I know we told them that we were gonna answer the
Yeah.
questions that were asked, and it needs to be addressed.
I agree.
as
Yeah.
we-
Well, and that's where, there's 5 pages, so it's,
Yeah.
it's like,
Right,
how do you
right.
put this in a format? How do you you know, I mean, I know we wanted to meet with them next month, but boy, when you read this, it's like, whew, this is gonna take a little time here to gather, and then how do you put this information together and give it back to them? How should we do that, so.
I think you want to do it though before spring, when everybody's in the field, because that's going to be a problem. I mean, your numbers are going to go.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and they wanted to keep rolling on
Yes.
this, so it stayed fresh in everybody's
Yeah.
mind.
I'd say we better have them.
I think
Faster we can.
There are two questions though that Kevin, I think you need to take care of. And those two are contacting the lawyer about the land
Yeah.
as to any specifics
Mhm.
that are tied to
Right, or they're
those two
tied to-
parcels of ground.
To both schools,
Yeah, you might as well check them
'Cause-
both.
yeah.
Because that
Which may
question.
take a little bit of research
That
or
question
whatever. I
came
mean, I
up a
think
lot.
you had
Yes, it
on
did.
one, but someone thought maybe Hill had some ties or something too, but just, I
Just
said,
get
let's
a
just
clean opinion from
confirm,
the
Yeah.
lawyer that states.
triple,
Yeah.
quadruple check,
This is what
just
the
so that
district can or cannot
we're
do.
giving them the right information, yeah.
Mhm.
School district bought Hill property back in the day,
Okay.
flat out bought it. $2,800 or something.
Oh, that's steal.
Yeah, right, so-
That was 60 years ago.
I know,
So, yeah.
true, true.
Yeah. But I will, that's one, okay?
Because that question came up. Each group that came through with Tammy and I, that question came up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ours too.
Yeah,
They came.
And that's with all those notes, there are similarities in there.
right, there are.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we probably
Yeah.
could weed through
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, there are similarities.
you
in
know,
there.
and maybe that could be, you know, on our own time as facilities committee, I mean, just ourselves, just go through, okay, is this one overlapping, is this one overlapping, kind of a thing, I guess, I don't know, and then maybe we could have our meeting and then talk things through instead of waste an hour going through all the papers and,
Right.
you know, two, I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there, but, I mean, if it's something that we wanna look at doing the end of March before Easter, or do we wanna look and wait after Easter, right away in the beginning of April, I don't know, when do you foresee people getting in the fields, Lanny?
Depends how
What's
warm it
your-
is.
Well, it's gonna be a while, but
Yeah.
it ain't all farmers being in the fields.
Yeah,
It's when the
just
weather gets nice,
nice.
everybody likes
That
to.
too.
Right,
They don't
Right.
like to go there neither.
well, and you're gonna
Right
start
there.
spring activities
Say
and,
it.
you know, so
They
you're gonna
want
need to
to
really think about the night that you
Get
choose
out
to do
and
it
walk
too.
or
Yeah,
go play
I would
tennis
agree.
or.
But I still think we still need to have it, whether, I mean, we can't come up with excuses, that, you
No.
know, we still gotta have it, you know, we had a great turnout, 40, so if we only have 20, so
Right.
be it, we'll still try and get the information out, you know, push it out on the website, whatever, once we compile our answers. I mean, you know, I think that we said that we would have that stuff out there for them to see, you know, never really kinda gave them a, sort of a timeline. I said,
Yeah.
we would like to meet with you every month, I don't know if that will happen, you know, but
In reading through, like, at least my notes that I took, I don't, do you feel like some of them would be hard to find answers to? I guess a lot of mine I thought was just a matter of looking up figures, you know, or I don't know,
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that, I guess,
Well, some of it you can't give a
Well, true.
definitive answer.
That's
because
true.
They have to be board action. Some of the questions, I mean, some of them are gonna have to be, this is what our design is, or this is
Right,
what we're
I see what
going
you're
to
saying,
do,
yes.
And that takes full board
once
to
it
answer
goes,
some of them.
right,
So the next step
Figure-wise.
then would be the facilities though, getting together, doing whatever you need.
Yeah.
Again, I think
Yeah.
this is the type of, you know,
Okay.
I think this is what you remand back to the committee, and they kind of go through, what do we want to do, and then, you know, kind of get that back to the full board, and, you know, whether it be come up with a format for all of this, whether it be something else, you know, what's the next logical step in the process? Is there some other type of task force that we're gonna get engaged and look at? You know, there's just, that's why the committee kind of sits down with ISG, and we kind of hash through this and say, okay, we got all this, what should we do now? How should we put this together? And then they can, you know, kind of give a recommendation.
So then that'd be facilities meeting together, so you all have to get together and figure out.
Now, I'll try to get the facilities committee either next week or, you know, very shortly here.
That's
Just
what-
making
I'm
faces.
gone next week,
Oh.
just throw that out there.
Or in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you gonna be gone?
No,
Oh, I thought you went,
send it next week. Can we meet this Thursday?
How many hours do we have to give notice?
Tonight.
Who's the other, is Randy?
But you gotta get
It's
Rod
Randy.
and,
Is he gonna be able to do it?
That'd be the only thing, if I can get ISG out here by March 1st or 2nd.
Okay, so is that something that you can, do we have to decide that
No, we
now,
can-
or do we?
we
want
can
to
When
talk
it
about
would,
that
be-
later?
No.
would it be something we could do, like, once the facilities committee met, do like a work session? Like, so we can do it before the next board, I mean, so we're not waiting a
You
month
can also have.
to kind of,
At that point, we.
Move
can
it forward.
call Another work session, or a special school board meeting, however.
Right.
whatever. I would guess, I don't know what would need to go on there, but, I have to check into.
Yeah, I think it has to be a.
If it's a work session, I don't know if you
Can't be
can,
an emergency.
no, it's not an emergency
Yeah.
meeting. We'd
'Cause
have
we'd-
plenty of time. to
we'd
do
know
a
it was
meeting,
coming.
but Work session, can you make decisions at a work session, or?
No.
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 So
Just
that,
discussion.
that would be the only thing, is you may need a special board
Right.
meeting, so you can make, if you decide to make another community meeting.
Oh, you wouldn't,
make
I
a
see what you're saying.
decision on something.
What are you whispering about?
I just told
It's
Kyle
Kyle
to
being a
put it on
pain.
his radar. that we meet Thursday. Might not wait till tomorrow.
We got a lot
You're
of
ready.
things to decide on that committee in very little time.
Yeah.
If we're gonna have one in March, and we're gonna have one in April, and we're gonna have one in May.
Well,
Well,
is
that's
this
why-
something that, on, for this potential meeting Thursday, if we were to get something together, is it a meeting where we feel like ISG needs to be there? Or is this could be just something that our committee talks about these questions, and then we could provide those questions to them, and they could get us the answers? If
I
it's something
like
that we
that
think we
idea.
can do, I don't know.
Go get through the questions.
Well, then you
Do we
can
need
narrow them
ISG?
down.
Right,
Do we need ISG?
I
to-
don't know.
This is what we want you guys to do, what we would recommend you to do for us. And have a meeting the next week. Clue everybody here in,
Mhm.
have your meeting. Because the majority of the people want
Yeah.
figures.
Yeah,
They want figures, and figures ain't easy to come up with.
no.
I mean, one guy said we could do it on the back of a napkin. There's no way you're gonna design a school and what it's gonna cost on the back of a napkin. You know,
They'll throw out numbers, but where's the accuracy, and what are you doing, and what type of planning, and, you know, there's a number of things, and how do you pull all of this together to give you, start getting you on the track to a reasonable solution, you know? Options, you know, I mean, they want efficiencies, that's more
Yeah.
me than them,
Yeah.
and that, I'm looking.
That was a
And
big
that-
one in
that
our
should
group.
take some
You're gonna have
time.
to start looking, I mean, what are you gonna
Right.
use, 5-year averages, 3-year averages, you know?
Right.
And there's this analysis of staffing, I mean, some of that stuff is just not going to get done in a week or two. I mean, some of this stuff is a little more complex, that's why sometimes you get a task force and you break some of this stuff up and have maybe some community members looking at it and working with us. And, you know, how does that all, that's where the committee, I think, can kind of get through and hash some of this stuff out and get their elbows dirty. Is that a good way to say it?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Any other comments on the community meeting? No? So you all work that out when you're gonna have your meeting?
Yeah.
I will work with the committee to try to get if we can get it this week, I'll do it.
Okay.
Thursday, Friday morning.
Randy.
No, Friday
No
morning won't work for
mornings.
me.
Preferably after 6.
After
Yeah, at 6?
Preferably after 6.
On Friday morning or Thursday night?
Thursday night.
Thursday, not 6 a.m.
I'll do it at 4 in the morning.
To be discussed after the meeting.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Pals, thank you, Mr. Oy. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries, we're adjourned.